Hello there. Today I saw a new television show that caught my eye and decided to binge watch the first 3 episodes so I could talk to you about it. Scavenger's Reign is a sci fi fantasy show that follows the crew of the spaceship Demeter after their ship breaks down. Several escape pods launch toward a nearby planet, and a few survive the descent into the atmosphere. Stuck on a dangerous world, they must land the rest of their ship and find a way out of there. The show was created by Charles Hutner and Joe Bennett and stars Wunmi Mosaku as Ozzy, Aliyah Shawkat as Levy, Sunita Mani as Ursula, Bob Stevenson as Sam, and Ted Travelstead as Cayman. The plot is cut into 3 main storylines. Each story follows a couple of characters on their journey along the planet's surface. The 3 groups face varying circumstances based on their geographical location, and they also have to deal with different levels of loneliness. We get a quick introduction to each of the characters. They tell us their names and we see a little bit about their personalities, but we don't know what their jobs are, how they got there, or anything about their pasts. They spend their time discussing their circumstances and what they're going to do next. There are also flashbacks in each of the stories to help us get to know the characters a little bit and what they're talking about. Outside of that, most of the time is spent watching the characters on the actual journey. We observe the world around them as they go. The animals, the environment, and the differences between their world and ours. The planet is a strange and mysterious place with giant creatures, plants that integrate with technology and boost it, and all kinds of terrifying threats. The characters spend most of their day just trying to survive and make small strides. Most of the film could be classified as a science fiction survival story, but there are elements of horror in here too. Creatures that attack the crew, environmental threats like sandstorms and stampedes, and psychologically damaging scenarios. There are a total of 5 characters so far, split into 3 groups. The first group is Sam and Ursula, who start off in the jungle and are currently attempting to bring the Demeter to the surface so they can secure the rest of the crew. Sam is a burly older man with short white hair and a penchant for bravery. He and Ursula are partners, but he relies more on her than her on him. He's also a bit talkative. Ursula appears to be much younger than Sam with mid-length brown hair. She's quieter than Sam, but cheers him up whenever she speaks. Her outlook is a lot more positive. In the second group, we have Levi and Ozzy. They start off in a desert with a little base they've set up. They hope to protect their spot and continue working on a way to contact the others. Ozzy is a young woman with a dark-haired crew cut, and Levi is her support robot. Ozzy is like Sam in that she's quick to action but has a much more reserved temperament. Levi is a robot that seems to be developing sentience. It fused with the local plant life and now it's having compulsions of its own for the very first time. Finally, in the third group, there is the lonely Cayman. He starts off high in the jungle where his pod is stuck in the treetops. He can't get out and has eaten all of his food. He desperately searches for a way to escape while staving off madness. He's slowly losing his mind from the loneliness he feels. Cayman is a middle-aged man with messy orange hair and a scruffy orange beard. He's a bit of a strange person who's quick to anger and fearful of the world around him. The visual journey involves a very basic art style that allows them to quickly put together grand landscapes. The creators put a heavy focus on showing the world around the characters as they complete their journeys. The world is an uninhabited, undeveloped land with a number of different ecosystems. There's a huge variety of plants and animals within them, and they all work in an alien manner. There are animals that eat metal and energy, plants that act like living machines, and the world has a supernatural quality to it behind every corner. The soundtrack sees violin and piano instrumentals show up for short periods to give the show a lonely space western vibe. When there is no music, they use ambient tracks to give off an isolated feeling. Okay, now that we've got the description out of the way, here's what I liked about the show. I think the story is highly exciting. It's full of mystery and little bits of flavor from other genres like horror and action, and I think they do an incredible job of keeping things fresh. They're always introducing a new creature, plant, or mechanic. Each of the stories is unique enough to give you a variety of perspectives about the situation, and we get to explore a lot of different scenarios. So far, they've been through a crazy amount, and it's just 3 episodes in. The visual journey always has something new for you to look at and goes out of its way to create strange and exciting visuals. There are weird plants and animals that move in irregular ways with even stranger appearances. At times, it feels like watching planet Earth on an alien world. The landscapes are beautiful. There are also horror sequences that are viscerally disgusting. The art style being good for movement allows them to do some great action sequences that involve big explosions, gnashing teeth, and rending claws. The characters run, jump, swim, and fight their way across the land. The show does a great job of capturing it in a smooth way that really gets the impact across. There are a lot of standout visuals in terms of horror sequences, action moments, and general world building with all the different creatures and environments. The soundtrack does a good job of creating an isolated feeling that works well within the story. It adds a lot of gravity to each of the storylines and helps build up tension whenever a situation turns sour. That isolated feeling permeates through the rest of the show and helps the world feel a lot bigger than it really is. The cast hasn't gotten to do much so far, but each of them has done a good job of what's been given to them. They deliver their lines well, adding in as much emotion as possible, and trying to make themselves feel unique through their delivery. On the flip side, there aren't any standouts because the show hasn't really given them the chance to show off yet. We've only seen a few conversations between the characters so far, and no big emotional outbursts. There isn't a lot of talking in general, and most of the character development has come from flashbacks and actions taken. The soundtrack is also a bit one-note and empty. The lack of variety in the big stretches of the show without any music make it feel a bit empty. They had lots of opportunities to introduce different types of tracks that could have given the different environments more flavor and helped set the storylines apart in a clearer way. Finally, the story is a total mystery without much of an explanation behind it. They don't follow any kind of logic, and there seem to be random supernatural elements to the story as well. It's constantly introducing new things, but it never actually stops to take the time to show you how it works. The characters never discuss that kind of technical detail either. After the 4th or 5th creature that appears to be magical, you end up having to suspend your belief completely because the rules are totally different here. If they did a better job of explaining it, it might make sense, but as it is, it's impossible to follow the logic in the show. Overall, I think Scavenger's Reign is going to be a good sci-fi fantasy show, and I look forward to seeing what they do with the rest of this season. I really like the creativity they've shown in building the world and the environments, and I hope that they continue fleshing out the characters as they have been. I really can't wait to see how Cayman's story ends. The 3rd episode had him taking a super dark twist. Normally I'd give a rating, but it feels a little premature for that, so I'll just say that I'm enjoying it so far. Remember, these are just my thoughts on the first 3 episodes. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below. Bye-bye.